Hello! What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Thanks again for being flexible. Of course, if you aren't able to watch this live, you can watch it later. But anyways, thanks for being flexible, and as I continue to do these, hopefully I will find a time that is good for everybody to kind of be able to jump online. I know we all work and stuff, so no worries, but it is kind of fun to have people watching live so that if you have comments or questions, we can talk about it. But anyways, happy Tuesday, and I'm here. If you haven't heard, my kids, I live in Raymore, and so I think most of you are in the area in my group, but if you're not, I live in Raymore, Missouri, and got a call last night that my son needs to quarantine because I think it's a teacher that's sick that tested positive. So he's home. My daughter can go though as long as she doesn't have symptoms. But I will be taking her to and from school. Normally she rides the bus. They didn't ask us to do that, but I just figured just to be safer. So my world is a little bit upside down, not too bad though. Thankfully I didn't have a whole super lot going on in the next couple of weeks. So you just have to live and learn and be flexible, right? So thanks for being flexible today. So today I am kind of going to be expanding more on what I talked about last week. So if you haven't watched last week, last week I talked about the number one reason why you're not winning or being consistent in your health journey, and I kind of talked about that. So some of this might be a little bit similar, but I wanted to dive a little deeper today into that because I talked about the number one thing, not in quite as simple as this, but basically where are your mindsets at? How are you thinking, and why is that the case, and how is that holding you back? So today I wanted to kind of expand on that and talk about how do we be more committed to our health. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in again. If you are able to catch this live, say hi so I know you're here. I'm also sitting on my bouncy ball because my back kind of hurts, so you might see me stretching a little bit. So it's pretty comfy though. So anyways, as I was thinking about this today, there are two things that I was thinking about, and I think there are two things or factors in how to be more committed. Somebody used the word how. Two things to be more committed. So how to be more committed. And I see two problems that hold us back when it comes to being more committed. So I wanted to talk about these things together as a how and what's the problem or why we struggle with this. So again, if you listened last week, I talked about the number one thing being that we don't believe that we can get healthier, or there are other mindsets that might be holding us back. But a lot of the time it's just we don't believe that we can. We don't really see us being able to accomplish that goal of whatever it is, getting healthier wise. And so the first how that I see when it comes to being more committed is knowing where your mindset is and how that affects you getting healthier. And I kind of talked about this last week, and I talked about there are different stages that we tend to be in when it comes to, and this is when you're building any sort of habit, but especially when you're building behavior change when it comes to health and fitness. And so I talked about, I didn't have exact names, but I have more definition names today. And so I'm gonna name them for you and kind of explain what stages of change there are in order to create behavior change. And I want you either in the comments, well, please, in the comments after you watch this, let me know what stage you think you're in, because this is part of my job as a coach, is to kind of help you figure this out. So if you have no idea, I think these are going to be kind of obvious, but there are some where you may not really know. So the first stage that I believe people can be in when it comes to behavior change is denial. Yeah. We've all been there, right? We've all been in that stage where, you know what, there are things in my life that are just not great, but I don't really know why. And I don't really care to know why. Right? Can you think of an area of your life where that's been your mindset? You're just too tired to figure it out, really don't care, denial, right? And the next stage of behavior change is awareness, right? And this is kind of what my intention of these Topic Tuesdays are to help you, is to help you bring awareness to what's going on in your life, where are your mindsets. And so that's the second stage. The second stage is, all right, I understand there's a problem. I understand that I'm thinking a way that I shouldn't be thinking. I'm aware that this is happening, right? And you would think that like denial and awareness are like semi-connected or related, or like at least you would have some awareness, but sometimes we really don't. Sometimes we really don't. So first stage is denial. You have no idea. You don't really care to know why. And then the second stage is awareness. Awareness that, all right, there's something going on. I need to be figuring out what's wrong, right? The third stage is, all right, I'm aware. I need to do something about this. I need to start planning. And I call this the preparation stage. So you are starting to thinking about, you know, getting healthier, whether it's an exercise regimen or, you know, eating healthier. Preparation stage could be getting stuff out of your house you know that you shouldn't be eating. Like all of those things, right? And so that would be the next stage. The third stage is preparation. The fourth stage is active. You are actively working towards building a better habit in your health and your fitness. So you're working in a group, you're going to a group fitness class, you're working with a trainer, you're working with a coach. Maybe you're just, you know, you're good at putting a plan together for yourself, and you're doing videos at home, and you have a plan, and you have a nutrition plan, but you have put it together, the preparation stage is over, and you're actively working to build this habit, right? It's not 100%, but you're working towards consistency. Then after that, we have the maintenance stage. Maintenance stage is something where you've been doing a habit. We'll just use health and fitness as an example. You've been working out consistently, maybe 2 to 3 times a week for 6 months to a year. That's when you would be in the maintenance stage, where you have really mastered putting this into practice in your life, and you are doing it. That would be maintenance, where you're committed enough that you're like, I see the benefit in this. I'm going to keep moving forward. It's not 100% like I would want it to be, you know, but really 100% is not reality. But it's consistent, and you're making changes, and you're seeing results. And so at that point, you're in the maintenance stage. And you can fall off the maintenance stage at any point. Something that they call relapse. We can relapse back to any of these stages at any point. But when you have gotten to the point where it has been maybe 2 years, 3 years down the road, maybe even several years of building habits, I would say that most of the time, depending on my goals, I would say I'm in this stage. I usually fluctuate between maintenance and what's called termination, which I think someone, you know, like me will always need some sort of accountability, and I can always grow. And so I'm not saying I won't ever get a coach or for my own personal health and fitness. That would actually be a goal of mine. But as far as building a habit of, you know, exercising and trying to eat better, I would say that termination is a stage that I live in now. I don't need somebody to necessarily tell me, hey, how's it going? Or did you get your workout in? Would that help me? Oh, probably, sure. Yeah. But I have seen the benefits of it enough to know that I can do this. I can push myself because I know I feel better and I'm in a better mindset. So hopefully that makes sense. Like, again, sometimes I fluctuate, and I've had periods of time in my life where I've relaxed, and that's not to say that I won't. But I see the benefits enough that I really don't fluctuate enough to be in a different stage. So anyways, again, the first stage is denial. Second stage is awareness. Third stage is preparation. The fourth stage is being active. The fifth stage is maintenance. And then again, the last stage is termination. Now, this is again to help us know where are we. This is the first how, is where are you? Where are you in your mindsets? So again, below in the comments after you watch this, I want you to plug in, what stage are you in? What stage do you think you're in? Let me know. The second how, excuse me, or I'm sorry, I need to hit the first problem. I don't want to miss that. So when we talk about the first how, now I want to talk about the first problem. The first problem I see when it comes to understanding this how to be more committed, the first solution I would say, is knowing your why. Knowing the why. And I'm not talking about your goals. I'm talking about why are you in the stage that you're in? If you're in denial, why? Why are you in denial? And again, this can be kind of hard being in this stage because if you don't even care, thinking about it is really not something you want to do, right? And I'm going to say this, that just from my experience, the main stages that we stay in when it comes to these stages are the first three. The first three are the hardest to get through. Now, the being active and maintenance, I'm not saying those aren't hard. I'm just saying getting to being active. If you are someone who has been stuck in denial and awareness and preparation, you cycle through those fairly often and you're not really doing anything consistently, they're the hardest to get out of. And I have been there. I was thinking about it. I remember when I first started trying to make exercise more of a commitment in my life, and I remember what that felt like. I remember the first body pump class that I took and thinking, there's no way I could ever teach this. And like talking and exercising, like I am dying right now. And, you know, to staying consistent and 2 years later being so empowered by it and seeing results to being like, I want people to feel like they can do this, to actually teaching that class. Like there was a mind shift that I had to go through. But I remember what it was like to be in denial. And it's not really a fun place to be in, and it's a hard place to be in. But I want you to think about that. Why? If you're in denial, or if you're kind of in the awareness stage, or you're in the preparation stage, why? Why are you there? Why are you not moving past those stages? A lot of the time it's just hard to get past those stages. And a couple of things that I think are related to this, especially when it comes to believers or moms of faith, I really truly believe that this is one issue we have. If you call yourself a follower of Christ, do you know who you are in Christ? Are you in the Word and you're listening to what God says about who you are? I really truly believe that as a believer, again, we have an advantage because we have the Spirit living inside of us. But are you feeding the Spirit? Is the Spirit telling you who you are in Christ? Do you know who you are in Christ? Do you know the power that you have within you? And so I think that's part of the first things, or one of the first things that when we're looking at where we're at in our mindsets, Again, this can be any habit, but especially when it comes to your body, when it comes to your health. I think a lot of us spend time in denial because we don't really know or understand who we are in Christ. Is it that you don't understand that you have a purpose? And I have been there. Just, coming from, I don't want to start all the way back in the beginning, but, understanding that, when you understand who you are in Christ, and when you understand that God has a purpose for you, that you have a design that someone needs. We all need your gifts. I have a set of gifts that people need, and I shouldn't be ashamed of those. But you have gifts that people need, that other moms need. And so you have a purpose, and it's not just to be a mom. And I'm not saying that being a mom obviously is a bad thing, but I will tell you this. I believe that I had some time before I got married, before I had kids, to really develop a relationship with God. Now, I wouldn't say that I had mastered it by any. I know I haven't mastered it, even still. But I gave myself some time to really develop myself before I put someone else into the picture, right? I think that's something that we need to start teaching girls younger and younger is know who you are in Christ, know that you're loved, know that you have a purpose, know that you don't need a man. You don't need a man to complete you. You can be just as happy with your relationship with God. And I went through some of those stages, and not to say that I didn't struggle with the fact that I wasn't married. I struggled with all of that. But really what God taught me was that I need to be complete in Christ before I can really be effective as a wife, be effective as a mom. And so, again, I wouldn't say that I had that mastered, or I definitely felt like I had somewhat of a grasp. But if you don't have any idea who you are in Christ, you don't know or understand what God's purpose is for you by yourself. You add a marriage and you add kids to your life because you think that they're going to fulfill a certain area in your life, you're looking at it all wrong. And so you've got to get back to the basics of who are you? Who are you in Christ? And this is really what I want to stress in teaching believers, teaching moms, is that we have to figure this out, and we have to take the time to do that. And it's something that is continuous. We have to be serious about this. We have to be serious about understanding who we are in Christ so that we can be most effective for our husbands, for our families, for our kids. So again, you have to take care of you first, spiritually, because spiritually is what affects our mindsets, okay? So are you not okay with the place that you're in? You're not happy with the way your family looks, the way your life is right now? Is that a reason why you're in denial? I know I might be, touching some not so nice places that we don't really want to think about, but this is what I see that we struggle with. So just be aware of those things and think about those things. Where are you? Why? Why are you there? What stage are you in, and why are you in there? Are you not okay with who you are? Are you not understanding your purpose? Are you not understanding who you are in Christ? And you're looking to the world, or you're looking to your family to fulfill those things in your life. You're not going to find it there. Okay, so the second thing, or the second how, I think is related to being committed, being more committed to your health, is, and this is one that I will say I'm not very good at yet. I am just starting to do this a little bit more in a bigger way. And so the second how I think that we need to be seeing in our lives is we need to dream bigger. We need to dream bigger. We need to dream bigger than ourselves. I think it's really easy to get into a marriage, get into a family, and think that all of those things are going to make us happy. And I will tell you firsthand that they didn't make me more happy necessarily. I love my family, I love the place that I'm in, but I would say that being married and having kids is more learning self-sacrifice. It's more refining me into being a better person. I think a lot of us jump into marriage and kids thinking that it's going to make us happy, thinking that it's going to make us have these wonderful things, and the reality is that's not true. Again, going back to, are you happy with who you are and the plan that God has for your life without those things? Because if you're not, you're just going to carry those mindsets into a family, and your family will pick up those mindsets. That's it. And I've been there, and I'm still there some days. I'm working through some of those mindsets that I have. But we need to dream bigger. You need to remember God has plans for you. He has great plans for you. I have that verse tattooed on my foot. That was my first tattoo because I wanted to remember that God has great plans for me. It's taken years to really start to truly believe that He has big plans for me. If I will only step into what He's called me to do, if I will take the baby steps into taking those steps towards a bigger future, He has big plans for me. And, you know, I'm seeing some of those big plans come into play here finally, but it's because I've been faithful in the small things. You know, I just wanted to kind of give us some perspective, especially if you're a mom, you stay at home, or you're a working mom, but you have young kids, or, you know, life is crazy, especially right now. You know, you won't always have your kids at home, right? The goal is for them to grow up and live on their own, and, you know, that makes me sad, but at the same time, that's the goal, right? We are raising up another generation. We are raising up kids who will hopefully be better citizens than us. You know, they'll have better mindsets than us. And where are they supposed to learn these from? Us, right? So if we're not focusing on changing our mindsets, those things, again, they're going to pour over into your kids. Your kids will pick them up. Again, we can't be 100% perfect, and God works out the good. I truly believe that. But we can always be better. We can always be working towards being better. So you won't be a stay-at-home mom forever. You know, your kids will grow up. You're more than just a mom. That's the other thing I wanted to say is you are you. You have talents and gifts. You know, you're more than just a wife. Again, going back to knowing who you are in Christ. God has big plans for you. So what you do as an example of a mom will establish your future. What you do as a mom right now, or the example of being a mom, the example that you live in your life at home, will be what helps establish your future. So it's huge. It's huge to understand those things. So we need to dream bigger. We need to dream bigger than ourselves. Again, this is an area that I'm not so good at. I am working on this. I am watching other people who are doing things that are big. And that kind of goes back to, you know, your team. Who are you watching? Who are you around? Are you around people that are still in denial? They're probably not going to get you to the next place that you need to be in, mindset-wise. You know, hopefully this group is a place where you can grow in that. That's definitely another reason why I created this group, why I am becoming a coach, because I see us as moms struggling with these things, and we have to have help. You're not alone in this journey. There are other moms out there who are struggling with the same things that you're struggling with, and we have to work together. We have to build each other up, right? So the second problem that I see when it comes to the how, because the how is we need to dream bigger, right? The problem I see with that is that you need to think outside of right now. I think this is really hard for us as women. Like, I think guys are definitely more like future minded. I'm not saying all or it, you know, all of that, but like, I'll say me personally, I am not the greatest at looking at the future as a bigger whole. I'm more focused on the right now, right? But the thing is, we have to think outside of right now. The right now is going to take us to the future. The right now determines what you do with the future. So we do have to be focused on the right now and doing the right things for right now, right? But we do have to look outside of ourselves, and we have to look down the road, and we say, I have to say, what do I want my life to look like when my kids are gone? Or even like 2 years from now, where do I want to be financially? Where do I want to be with my job? Are you dreaming bigger? Are you dreaming bigger? Are you looking outside of yourself? I think that's another important thing. Are you looking outside of yourself? Because even as moms, we can still be selfish. I can attest. I'm not so happy necessarily that my son has to be at home for the next 2 weeks, but I also see it as an opportunity to spend some extra time with him and love on him and be there for him. It just means that I have to rearrange my time that I normally have a certain way when my kids are at school, right? And so we have to shift our mindsets, right? So your right now determines what you do in the future. So dream bigger. The other thing with dreaming bigger when it comes to being healthier is, again, you have to think outside of yourself. Who else does your health affect? It affects your kids. It affects your husband. Maybe it even affects right now with the virus going around. If you're not as healthy and you have elderly parents, it affects their health, So it not only affects you, it affects the people around you. Who else does it affect in your life? The other question I would ask yourself is, what else does your health affect? And how does it affect your future? Because if you think about it, if you really think about it, if you want to travel, per se, you want to retire, you want to travel with your husband, in order to dream bigger about that, what are the things that have to happen in order for you to be able to do that? One, you'd have to be financially stable, The second thing would be you need to be healthy enough to travel. We have so many different diseases and heart problems and obesity problems and, so many different things that we struggle with. And across the board, no matter who you talk to, no matter what doctor you talk to or health coach you talk to, the answer to a lot of those health problems is getting healthier. It's eating better. It's moving more. I don't care who you talk to. That's the solution for most problems. Now, that doesn't mean you won't necessarily need medication or, and that's a blessing. I'm grateful that I have a pill that I have to take every single morning in order to keep my thyroid the way it needs to be. But if that's the only thing that I was doing, I think I would be way off worse, because I know other people who have the same problems that I have, and they're struggling to get to where I am. And if I hadn't taken as much time as I have to be healthier and build habits, I think I would be way off worse. So, it affects your future. It affects what you will be able to do, what you want to do. If you really want to travel, and that's something that my husband and I want to do, we have to be healthy, down to, can I fit in the chair? Because those chairs are tight, and you sit 3 people together, probably not right now with COVID, but, that's just the simple fact, So what's your future look like? Dream bigger, okay? The last thing I wanted to say for today was that I really truly believe as a mom, as the woman of a house, obviously God has given us a specific role, and we live in the authority of, or this, submission of our husbands, or of God, if you're a single mom. We live under authority for a reason. It's God's design. It's His design for us. But here's my realization. when it comes to being healthier and being more fit, being a mom gives you an advantage, right? Now, I'm not saying this across the board, of course, but, you know, there are dads out there who plan food and all of that too. But, you know, if you're the one that primarily cooks, if you're the one who plans the food, you get to have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to being healthier. And so, you know, our husbands and our families will follow our lead. I'm not saying they'll do it not begrudgingly, because sometimes they do. But even my husband has said, you know, I'm not worse off for eating healthier. I'm actually better off. You know, I miss some of his, you know, he misses some of his favorite foods, but he's not worse off. He's healthier for it, you know. So you get to have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to being healthier. But the thing is you have to choose that for yourself first. You have to be working towards it for yourself first, okay? All right, so that's all I have for today. Sorry, that was kind of long. Thanks for whoever's watching. I see Lavana, you waved. There's a couple of you on. So if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Please, again, let me know, what stage do you think you're in? What stage do you think you're in? And or if you are at a point where you're like, I need to figure this out, then let's talk, let's chat, let's figure out, where are you? Where do you need to go next? How do we need to change your mindsets? All right, you guys have a great Tuesday.